Hi everyone, it's me, Rebecca. Good afternoon. I haven't posted anything on YouTube for a while, so I thought today I'd share with you a video on how to get really great sleep, a few yoga poses you can do to start to wind down for a good night of rest. So you don't need anything in particular for the video. You can just do it on the floor of your bedroom or wherever you have space. However, if you do have a yoga block or even a kind of thick book that you can use, that can come in handy, and also a nice plump cushion. You don't need to be wearing yoga clothes for this. You can do it in your PJs or even in your pants if you are so that way inclined. The other thing to say is that it might be nice to light your favorite candle and really start to use this routine to wind down in the evening. Okay, let's begin. So I'm going to take my props over to my yoga mat and just have them handy to the side. And we're going to begin today in child's pose. So bring the knees to mat width apart, have the toes together to touch behind you, and drop the forearms and the forehead onto the floor. If your forehead doesn't reach the mat completely, just bring a block or a cushion underneath so that you can really allow the neck to relax. And take a few long breaths here just to let yourself land in the space. And then come up to tabletop position, all fours. Stack the shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. And we're just going to take a few circles in the hips here. And keeping the elbow joints really nice and soft so that you're not locking out the arms. Then once you've done the circle a few ways, change the direction of the circles. Just moving really slow and setting your own pace. And then come back to neutral position. The first pose we're going to take today is lizard's pose. So for this one, you want to slide the left hand forward about a hand's length in total. Bring the left foot to the behind of the left wrist and then place both of your hands to the inside of that left foot. So this is a pretty big hip opener. If you're just beginning yoga, this one might be a bit more challenging, but take it easy. One option here, if you feel like it's a bit too low, is to bring the block underneath your hands. And then from here, slide the right leg back and rest the top of the right foot onto the ground. And feeling that back leg is really heavy. And take a few moments to breathe here. And this is a big opener for the hip flexors, which is a great pose to do before bed, especially if you sleep on your side. Start to open those muscles at the front of the thighs. And start to make your way out of this one, sliding that left foot back. Bring the left knee down and readjust into your tabletop position so that your hips and knees, shoulders and wrists are square. Let's take that to the other side. So just bringing the right hand forward about a hand's length in front of the left. Bring the right foot around to the right wrist. Slide the left leg back and make sure that both of your hands are positioned to the inside of the right foot. And take a moment to sink into the hips, really letting yourself be soft. Might feel nice to take a little sway. None of these poses really have to be static or stuck in place. If it feels good to have a little move around, a little roll around, use your intuition and tune into what movements the body needs you to take. And slowly make your way out of that one, bringing the right knee back onto the ground behind you. Cross the shins behind you and roll over the legs to sit on your bottom. And stretch both legs out in front of you. And for this next one, you might want to elevate the pelvis a little bit, especially if you feel like you're rounding in the lower back. So for that, I have my cushion. You can use the yoga block if you prefer. I like having a cushion. So first of all, we're going to come into a forward fold variation. So begin by bringing the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Inhale to reach both arms up. And exhale, fold forwards over that right leg. And if you've got tight hamstrings like me and you want to feel that stretch along the back of the right thigh, keep your right foot flexed and press the right heel away from you. Let the neck and the head relax. And slowly roll all the way back up to your upright seated position. Straighten out the left leg, and we'll take that to the other side, bringing the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Maybe a little shuffle in the bottom so that you can feel equally grounded through both of the sit bones. Make sure that left foot is flexed as you reach both arms up to the sky. Exhale to fold forwards. Every time you inhale, think about lengthening the spine and using your exhales to fold a little bit deeper into that space you've created with breath. And slowly come all the way up out of that one. Straighten both of the legs in front of you and give them a little wiggle, a little shimmy and a shake. We're going to come into full forward fold now, Paschimottanasana. So I like to take this with a little bit of a bend in my knees just to protect the hamstrings. Find a straight spine, ground down through the sit bones. Breathe in to reach the arms all the way up and fold the upper body forwards. You can either catch your feet with your hands, or if you can't quite reach, just bring the hands to rest alongside of the legs. You can also have the hands resting on the shins if you prefer. And you might be feeling this one a little bit more in the calves, some of you if you're tight here, or even into the lower back. So just be aware of what's happening in your body and how you're experiencing this particular pose. And forward folds are a really great way of calming down the nervous system, especially before we go to bed. We want to activate that rest and digest. And slowly come all the way back up to seated. Take the block or the pillow, if you've used that, away for a moment. I'm going to keep my block handy for this next pose. Bend the knees, extend the arms so that they're parallel to the yoga mat, and come all the way down to lie on your back. And for this next pose, we're going to take a supported bridge pose. So this is why I'm going to use my block. Bring the heels so that they're within touching distance of the fingertips. Have the feet planted at hip width apart and take your block. You want to place the block underneath the sacrum. That's the big triangular shaped bone at the bottom of your back. It might take a little bit of adjusting before you feel comfortable here with the block. You want to feel supported and like you could stay here for a few moments. You can also adjust the height setting of the block. So here I've got mine on the middle setting. If this is a little bit too much for you, you could bring it down so that the block's flat. Or if you've already been doing some stretches in yoga and you're feeling quite nice and warm already, you could bring the block onto the highest setting for a deeper back bend. But like I say, if you're not really warm and you haven't been doing any stretches prior to this video, just be a little bit careful with how deep you want to come into the back bend. Breathe deeply into the belly. Becoming conscious of the rise and fall of your abdomen. And allow the palms to face up towards the ceiling so that the heads of the shoulders can be relaxed and the body is energetically open. And from here, gently lift the sit bones up off your block and vertebra by vertebra, glide the spine down onto the mat, rest the lower back onto earth, and give the knees a little sway from left to right. And from here, we'll come into our reclining bound angle pose. So bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees drop out to the sides of the space. So this is another hip opener, and it also opens up the muscles in your groin and the inner thighs, the adductors. If it feels like a little bit much, you can use your blocks or your cushions just to support the outer edge of your thighs or your knees here so that the legs don't drop down quite so far. From here, bring your hands onto the abdomen so that the fingers, the long fingers, middle finger, just about touches the tip of the other middle finger on your belly. Breathe deeply into the abdomen. And starting to notice the space between the two middle fingers where they connect. Become aware of every time the abdomen rises with the inhales, the middle fingers will break apart from each other as they rise. And then as you exhale and the abdomen falls, the tips of the fingers knit back together. And feel free to stay here for as long as you would like to. And from here, we're going to come into a supported waterfall pose. So gently use the hands to the outer thighs to bring the legs together, knees together. I'm going to use the block again for this one. Bring the block just underneath the sacrum. Again, I quite like to have this on the very lowest setting so that the block is flat. Place your hands, palms face down onto the floor and extend the legs up to the ceiling, keeping your lower back anchored onto that block. If you have a wall handy in your bedroom or wherever you're practicing, it can be really nice to do this pose with legs up the wall. You can stay here for 5 or 10 minutes. It's a really great one to do before bed, actually. And the legs don't have to be completely straight either. You're still going to get all the benefits of the inversion if there's a little bend to the knees. So really do what works for you. It might feel nice to have a little rotation through the ankle joints. Or simply be still. And when you're ready, either slide the legs down the wall if you're using the wall, or bend the knees and bring the soles of the feet down onto the earth. Take the block to one side. Straighten out both of the legs. Take a deep breath in through the nose and long sigh out through the mouth. Draw your left knee in towards the chest, give it a squeeze. And then gently use your right hand to guide the knee over towards the left side of the body. If it doesn't quite reach the inside of the knee to the floor, take a block or a pillow underneath that knee to give you some support. Extend the left arm out so that the hand stays on a level line with the shoulder. And then turn your gaze towards the left fingertips for your supine twist. Start to unwind out of that one, bringing yourself back to center, straightening out the left leg. This time we'll take it to the other side. So right knee hugs in, give it a nice squeeze. And then use the left hand to guide the right knee over towards the left side of the body. Again, resting the inner knee onto a block if you'd like to. Reach the right arm towards the right side of the room and turn your gaze to the right fingertips. And again, have that right palm facing up to the ceiling. Allow for this pose to be a complete surrender. And quick body scan to make sure that you're not still gripping or tensing any muscles. And start to unravel out of the twist. Find your way to lie down on your back. Have your feet at about mat width apart. Let the ankles flop out to the side, feet flop out. Turn your palms to face up towards the ceiling and tune back into the breath for a few moments. Close the eyes. Soften the muscles in the left and right side of the jaw. Relax the tongue. Allow the muscles to the sides of your eyes and beneath your eyes to release. Relax the eyebrows. And relax the whole of the scalp. Feel free to stay here for as long as you would like to. And then if you're coming up into seated from here, hug the knees into the chest, roll onto your side, and then use your hands to press up to seated position, and then crawl on into bed and have a great night's sleep. Thank you so much, everyone.